You've lost everything today, my businesses, my network, my reputation, and I really had to break into tech all over again from scratch. And this is how exactly I'm going to do it. And yes, I believe you can get hired in tech in just 90 days. No CS degree, no years of experience, just a focused plan and consistent action. Okay, who am I? My name is Deric, and I've spent the last 5 years building tech businesses from the ground up. I bootstrapped my way up to 80,000 US dollars per month in revenue, and now I'm pretty deep in the AI space. Everything I'm about to share comes from my personal experience, mentoring students, hiring talents, and building companies to solve real problems. This video isn't going to be fluffy stuff. I'm going to break it down by first principles, what actually matters, what doesn't, and how to shortcut your way into tech without wasting years spinning your wheels. So by the end of this video, you're gonna get a step-by-step blueprint to go from zero to hired in tech within 90 days, even if you have no prior experience. Plus, I'll show you how to use real tools, build proof, and stand out from the competition. We're gonna break this down into 3 30-day phases. Number 1, building the foundation. Number 2, getting real world proof. Number 3, landing the job. So let's get into it. Phase number 1, building the foundation. Most people fail here. They either pick the wrong path, they waste time chasing certifications, or binge tutorials without doing anything. Let's change that. Let's not do that, right? Step 1, choose your path. There are hundreds of roles in tech. You need one, not 10, just one. Pick one, choose it based on leverage, based on demand, and entry barrier. So here are 3 things that I would consider if I were to start today. I'm gonna think about software engineering with cloud. Think about AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. You help businesses deploy, scale, and manage infrastructure. High demand here, high leverage, and great pay. Another angle that I would actually consider would be QA engineering. You test products, you find bugs, and you ensure quality. This is pretty much a secret entry into dev teams, plus you would get to actually learn how software actually works. And the final one would be not glamorous, but you can consider IT support or sysadmin. It's gonna be stable, right? There's a lot of remote jobs doing this, and it's really good for learning the fundamentals of things. So why I would choose cloud is because that's basically how I started, right? Google Cloud, AWS, these things open up the doors for me, and it still pays the bills today. Step 2 is to learn with the 70-30 rule. Forget about 100% tutorial binging. Here's how I did it. 30% of my time is in learning, right? I got Udemy courses, I did it on YouTube, I did free code camp, whatever it is. For example, you could do AWS Cloud Practitioner course in Udemy, right? 70% of the time, I was just doing. I was spinning up EC2, I was deploying an app, I was just breaking things left and right. This makes you actively learn, provide output, and retention, I believe, happens only when you build. So the tools that I used for this phase was AWS, the free tier. I use Codecademy, I use free code camp, basically. Step 3 is to learn how to build a learning operating system. Use tools like Notion to track what you're learning, what you're stuck on, and what to build next. I had a personal dashboard with links, mini project ideas, and concepts that I don't get, so that I can always come back and understand it in the future. You don't need perfect memory here. All you need is a system to recall and reapply in the future. Phase 2 is to start getting in real world proof, right? Skills are honestly useless without proof. Companies don't care what you know, they care what you've done. And this is where you make yourself undeniable. So next will be to build projects that look like work. Anybody can build a to-do app, so don't be that guy. Instead, I would say for you to build what I call hireable projects. And these are things that are obviously, it has to be based on a real world business problem. It has to solve something from end to end, and you have to be able to deploy it publicly, not send a freaking GitHub link and expect someone to spin it up and see it. Right? You got to deploy it publicly so anyone can just use it immediately. Right? So for example, you can do a 3-tier web app on AWS, front end on S3, back end on EC2, and databases on RDS. Add IAM roles, logging, cost monitoring. You're not just clicking buttons, you're showing real world competence. And step 5 is to document things like a pro. Most people build and ghost their own work. Huge mistake, because if you don't document it, you're basically just stashing it somewhere, right? And nobody understands what you built. So document using the BUILD framework, right? The background, what problem are you solving? The understanding, what's your thinking process to solving this? The implementation, how did you build it? The lessons, what went wrong? What did you learn? The deliverables, where can I see it, right? Is it GitHub? Is it a website? You got to be able to do the build framework. This one shift, writing about your projects, this literally tripled the interviews that my students get last year. So the tools here are GitHub, Notion, LinkedIn articles. You can write it on Medium as well. Your project isn't real until it's public. Always remember that. And finally, phase 3, which is day 61 to day 90. Now that you've got the skills and proof, it's time to close, right? Stop spamming, start targeting. Most people will say to apply to hundreds, 200, 300 jobs and hear back from none of it. Why? That's because they're lazy. I personally recommend the 10-10-10 method, which is to pick 10 companies that you actually really want to work for, tailor 10 applications. You can think about custom resumes and custom messages, right? And reach out to 10 employees that are currently working there, or 10 hiring managers that are working there, right? Most people don't do this. That's why you're going to win and you're going to stand out if you do this. And next will be to learn how to network like a founder. When I was hiring, I don't care about fancy resumes. I cared about people who showed up in my inbox with curiosity, with clarity, and with some proof. You can use LinkedIn, but don't just just send a hi, right? Send a quick intro, who you are, what you're building. Send a portfolio link, that's something they can click in and it has to look good, right? And third would be ask a thoughtful question about the company or the role that you're applying for. Trust me, people love helping builders, so be one, and that's how you stand out. And step 8 would be to prepare with context and not scripts. Do not memorize the interview answers. Instead, try and understand the problem that they're giving you and genuinely understand what you care about. Hiring managers usually want to know, can you solve problems? Can you work in a team? Can you learn fast? So prepare stories, real ones, like when you fix a deployment issue at 2 a.m., right? Tell stories, get them excited, right? Or when you build a scrappy dashboard that saved a startup 20 hours per week, you can do these things, right? Inspire some emotion in them so they remember you. Every day they speak to hundreds of people, and if everyone tells them vanilla stuff, they're not going to remember you. So you got to tell them some stories and get them hooked. So you can use Glassdoor reviews to prepare. You can use interviewing.io. There's so many things, okay? So yeah, I guess another bonus would be to act like you're already in tech, right? If you act like a student, people treat you like a student. If you act like a peer, they treat you like a peer, right? So that means you got to actively contribute to GitHub. You can join Discord and Slack communities or even Facebook groups. You can write weekly posts about your progress. You don't need permission here. You got to just go out there and gain some presence, okay? If you start doing this, trust me, it's going to change everything for you, only if you commit to doing this consistently. Look, the tech industry really doesn't have a gatekeeper problem, and that's the benefit here, right? It has an action problem. Everyone's doing the same projects. Everyone's reaching out to the same people, applying the same way, sending the same GPT cover letter. You got to do something to stand out, right? People are drowning in resources, but they're starving in clarity. If you follow this path, you have clarity, you have momentum, and you have a shot at the kind of freedom that most people dream about. Always start small. Don't be afraid of things. Start small, move fast, and keep iterating. You're not waiting for opportunity, you're building it. Always remember that, right? So let's go get it. I'll see you in the next one.